the Spooky Book Club. Today we are doing a book review for August's book of the month, which was the I almost said the Sun Moan because the author's name is Simone. Okay. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And okay, let's just say it is a Saturday night. I have my adult beverage with me and I am ready to review this book. Let me just take a little pinkies up. All right, so if you're new to the book review process, it's pretty lax, to say the least. So what I do is just a general overview of the book, just like give a quick description in case you haven't read the book yet and just want to know if it was good, and then give a quick little review without spoilers, and then I'll let you know when we get into the spoilers and we'll go all in. And then from there, if you read the book, you can do, like I said, it's pretty lax. You can either respond to some of the things I'm saying, or if you had any questions for people or were like, hey, what did you guys think of this or whatever, you can leave those down in the comments. Or even if you just wanted to type out your own review down in the comments, go for it. I just think it's kind of a fun way to sit and chit chat like we're all together in our little book club, just sipping on our beverages and talking about what we thought about the book. And I just want it to seem like we're just hanging out and doing this. So that's kind of that. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into this. So The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. All right, so basically it's about this woman who is 20 years old and she goes out on her own. She kind of like leaves her mom behind because they have this kind of strained relationship. And she goes out to this small town in New York, Fell, New York, and starts working at a motel there. She finds out that the town has a history of missing women and or murdered women. And essentially she becomes one of those missing women. And so fast forward 30 years and her niece is going to the same town, working at the same motel to try to find out what happened to her aunt. And that's essentially what the book is about. It is a whole roller coaster ride, let me tell ya. So my overall feels about it, I really enjoyed the book overall because for a lot of reasons, and I don't know how much I can say without giving spoilers away because there's just a lot going on and so much of the story is kind of intertwined. But basically what I will say is if you're expecting it to be one of those where it's like, no, I'll just give something away, I can't say it. I will say this, if you like elements of the paranormal and elements of murder mysteries, then I think you're really gonna like this book. It's not like other books where there are a ton of twists and turns, in my opinion. Not like what we saw last month. If you read the books last month, when you kind of get slapped in the face with something that it was coming out of absolutely nowhere, you could have never predicted it. It's definitely not one of those books, but it doesn't take away from it too much. Like, it's still pretty good. But in some areas, because of this, it can seem to drag on a little bit. So it's kind of one of those books that like certain areas of it were moving a little bit slower, and then other areas were just like, I was locked in and hooked and couldn't put it down. So it was one of those books that once you hit that point where you're locked in, you can't put it down. But I could see where somebody would put it down when they didn't get to the parts that were like they were still putting together the pieces, because it did kind of take a while to put together the pieces of these murders and figure out what happened. But it all made sense in the end. But I really enjoyed the characters. I felt really attached to the characters, and I didn't get lost in them either. Nothing annoys me more in a book than when I get lost and I don't know which character they're talking about. But I really did enjoy the characters. I thought they were, thought they were good. So that's all I'm gonna say about that because it's just too easy to give away spoilers. So if you haven't read the book yet, I'm gonna let you go read it and tell me what you think of it if you do. If you are here for the spoilers, then sit tight. But if you are not here for the spoilers, if you haven't read it yet, I'm gonna give you a second to leave. I'm gonna take a sip of my beverage as you leave and maybe go to September book club if you haven't already been there yet, because we're now voting today on September book of the month, spooky book of the month, and I'm really excited about the picks. By the way, in case you're wondering, I don't have the tag on the bottom anymore. It was a whole drama over on my not really but it was like a whole conversation over on one of my spooky snacks video. Okay, all right, so now we're gonna move on to spoilers. I don't even know where to start because I just took all of these notes because I always end up forgetting things when I'm doing these book reviews. All right, so I guess I'll start with my favorite part of the book because I like to start with the positives. Okay, my favorite part of the book, okay, I got it. I loved the paranormal aspect in it. So all the ghosts and the doors flying open and all the spooky, like it was just the perfect book to read this time of year. Just had those little spooky vibes and ghost but then also was mixed in with mystery. I loved it, especially in the pool when she got pushed into the pool and she was getting out and the little boy is kind of not coming after her, but you know, she's scared and the ladder is rusty and the whole thing, it was just so spooky and eerie. Like the whole feeling, just, I love it. I loved every minute of it. So my least favorite part about the book, and if you want to answer these questions yourself down in the comments, please do. I love to hear people's favorite parts and least favorite parts. So my least favorite part about the book, and this is what I was going to mention before, but I felt like it was going to be a spoiler, is the fact that it took, like we went through this whole thing, only to find out it was the dude they suspected the whole time. Like in my mind, and maybe it's, and here's what I can't decide. I can't decide if it was the most brilliant thing or the most annoying thing. To me, it was like, in ways, it was the most brilliant thing because your mind wants to take you to, like for me, I was like, maybe it's Alma, maybe it's Marnie, maybe it's like, why is everyone trying to cover this up? So I was like, oh, maybe they murdered her, Vivian, because that's how every other book is like this. And so maybe it was brilliant because I wasn't suspecting Simon because it was or Simon Hess or whatever his name is, because it was way too obvious. But it ended up being him. But at the same time, I was like, really, we went through all of this drawn out process only to find out it's the same dude we knew it was all along. Like, so I kind of had a love-hate relationship with that aspect of it. So another question I have is, did you kind of feel all along that Vivian could be alive? Or did you kind of write that off and you're like, no, she's probably murdered, like something happened? So for me, I guess I never really wrote it off completely. I did think there was a possibility that she disappeared, but then here's the thing, she just knew too much that I thought it was probably more likely that she got murdered because she had a whole notebook and she was stalking this guy and he had seen her a couple of times like at the bus stop and stuff. So I was like, yeah, she probably got murdered because she knew too much, was my guess. Was I shocked that she was alive and completely blown away like I have been in other books with twists and turns? Not really. I did really like how she showed up though, how she pulled up to the hotel. Okay, another thing though that I didn't like, I'm just kind of going off on tangents because it's what's coming to my mind. What I didn't like, and you can tell me if you like this or not, is that she went to jail. Like, really? Like, this guy murdered people. Women disappeared and then he's gone. No one else gets murdered or disappears after he's gone. He confesses to her all of this. She doesn't have like solid proof, but hold on. What happened with the briefcase? Like he said, oh, it's all on that paper in the briefcase that she had seen. Why didn't she get into the briefcase again, get the paper and give it to the cops? Or did she do it and I just completely skipped over that part of the story? Because I just didn't understand why she didn't do that. Like, the briefcase was there, she was going through it, she saw that piece of paper, she didn't know what it meant. He told her what it meant. That was the proof of what had happened, and she didn't do anything with it. Like, what happened to the briefcase? Where did it go? They leave it in the hotel room? Like, they didn't mention it when they threw like his body and the knife in the car and the shower curtain in the car. So where's the briefcase? Is there a part 2 that I'm not knowing? So that kind of annoyed me too. It was kind of a loose end that never got tied up. Overall, I shouldn't really complain about it and pick apart little things because I always get so annoyed when people do that. But at the same time, overall, I didn't think about that kind of stuff as I was reading it. I thought it was a really good experience. I thoroughly enjoyed the book. Like, it's after the fact that I'm like, well, they could have gotten the briefcase. But in reality, I really enjoyed the book. And the ending, I feel like what happened in the ending? Oh, she lost her virginity. Like, okay, it had to end somehow, but it was what it was. I'm glad she ended up with Nick because I liked him and I liked them together. I knew from the beginning that Callum or whatever his name was just a total D-bag, like coming out of the shadows in the library. And this is coming from a ghoul that goes for the type of dude that hangs out in the library. And still, I was like, no, this guy, there's something not right. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually felt really sad when they were tearing down the Sundown Motel, because I almost felt like I lived there for a good portion of my life as I was reading this book. Like, I don't know, there was like a sense of nostalgia I was feeling towards it. Okay, wait, back up. The Sundown Motel, was it destroyed the whole time? Did the hotel always have the mold and the deteriorating roof? Like, you know, that kind of thing, like the water damage. Was that always there the whole time? Carly in 2017 was working there, and like the ghosts were basically preserving the place, or like it was trapped in time. You know what I mean? Or did the ghost, what was her name, Betty? Did she just completely wreck the place when she and what was the other guy, Simon, went at it for whatever they did, or she was all mad that Simon checked in? And that was my big question. What do you guys think? Was it always like that? Because it insinuated that the ghost did it, but in my mind, it almost seemed like the local people were like, how did you not notice that it was like this? Almost like they knew it was like that. And like the owner's son admitted to never putting money towards it. So it's not like it was getting fixed up or the roof was getting fixed or anything like that. So I'm wondering if it was already like that. Anyway, overall, I thought it was really spooky. I didn't think it was like hide under my covers spooky, but I did think it was really like in the perfect way spooky. Like this is the perfect time of year to read this book spooky. Like I was not expecting ghosts in this story. I'm like maybe like a little like haunted, like whatever, but like I didn't think it would be so much ghost activity, like a little boy and this woman and like all these things and the guy who smokes. Like it was all just so good. But if you guys want to give your own reviews or bring up some things that you noticed throughout the book, or just random thoughts that you were feeling throughout the book, or parts that you really liked, or characters you really liked, things like that. I love talking about that kind of stuff. So down in the comments, whatever you feel like, or if you just want to respond to whatever I was talking about or some opinions I had. I'm gonna stop here, but yeah, down in the comments, let's chat it up. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this month's book club. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey ghoul hey down in the comments, because you know I love talking to you. And of course, talk about all the book things that I already mentioned. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great September so far. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.